Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. Well, yet another list of RPGs that you probably never heard about. If you're new around here, these videos are all about upcoming RPGs that seem to have the potential to be good. We obviously don't know if they're going to be good until they come out. There is a possibility they might suck, that goes without saying. For example, in one of my previous videos I featured Dark Alliance and that game turned out to be pretty bad. But we also had titles like Gedonia and Solasta Crown of the Magister that people seem to love. Anyway, here's another list of 5 upcoming RPGs which might be worth our time. Speaking of time, you know what's the time for? It's time to raid! Did you ever wanted to fight a boss that's so pissed off at you that his head is literally on fire? Or do you want to get crushed by Princess Avila with her pointy feet? Don't answer that. Raid Shadow Legends is a game that you probably never heard about if you're living under a rock. But if you like rocks, you're going to love some of the champions that you can play with in this game. How about this dude that looks like a bastard child of a dragon? Or maybe his sister? Raid Shadow Legends has a ton of champions to collect, each with their own unique skills. You get to customize your party of champions however you see fit and bring them through various game modes like the main campaign of the game, dungeons, PvP arena, faction wars, Doom Tower, or you can join a clan and fight unique clan bosses. If you really love focusing on boss fights, the dungeon mode is what you're looking for. However, I personally like the casual stroll through the main campaign of the game that also has simple cutscenes and story that you can follow. The clan mode has received a lot of new updates recently. There are new quests and powerful items to get while working with other people from your clan. Or if PvP is more your thing, you get to set up your party and attack other players, but you also have to set up your defense because they will do the same. If you decide to jump into the game right now, you will get an epic champion who is amazing in the Doom Tower modes, and you also get all these other items that you see on the screen right now. Download the game and get all these extra items by just scanning the QR code you see on the top right, or by clicking the link in the description which I provided. Number 5. The Way of Rat. The Way of Rat is a shamanistic story-driven tactical RPG set in the ancient world governed by shamanistic laws. Now that by itself sounds really interesting and unique. This game had a successful Kickstarter campaign and they managed to gather $36,000. Not a huge amount of money by any means, but it could be enough for this kind of an indie project. To be completely honest, I was kinda skeptical about putting this game on the list. The developers were kind enough to send me a key for the game and I got to play it for a while. I believe that was about a year ago and the game was still in early beta stage of development. So my impressions of the game are outdated because they kept improving it with new updates obviously. And I don't remember much from my short time with the demo, but I just know that I lost the desire to make a dedicated video about it back then. Probably because I thought the demo was a bit boring and I was working on some other projects. Anyway, I'm still really curious about this title because it does have the potential to be a pretty solid turn-based RPG with a unique setting. When it comes to game features, The Way of Rat is actually an open world RPG, so that's going to be interesting to see. I remember the demo being quite linear, but that was just the beginning. Speaking of the worlds, I think the art style of the game is actually pretty good. I know it's not exactly anything unique, because we can see a ton of cartoony RPGs nowadays, but like I said, the prehistorical setting adds a really nice touch, because it affects how the game looks as well. This setting is not exactly that explored by other RPGs in general. When it comes to gameplay, the game has a classless progression system. You can customize your character's appearance, origin, skills, and reputation. You play as a tribal chieftain and throughout the story there are choices and consequences that you have to deal with. I remember liking the dialogue system a lot actually. Days are story turns, each in-game day the map updates with new encounters, quests, and all character storylines move forward based on previous day decisions. That actually sounds pretty interesting. The combat is turn-based, but it also has real time with pause, which I actually prefer. Anyway, if you like tactical RPGs, I think you should keep your eye on The Way of Rat. I really wish this game turns out to be good because it definitely has the potential. I guess we have to wait and see. Number 4. Holomento. Holomento is a bit different than other RPGs I feature on these videos. It's being described as an indie permadeath RPG with dangerous quests. I think this game has a strong Risk of Rain 2 vibes, judging by the gameplay trailer at least. Holomento has a handcrafted open world, but the dungeons in the game are going to be procedurally generated. That could be a good design decision if it's done properly, of course. You get to explore a handcrafted open world, which I personally prefer over any random or procedurally generated maps. But when it comes to dungeon design, I think it's a good idea to design them with some procedural generation in mind, especially if you're going to spend a lot of time dungeon crawling. Due to the curse, the kingdom of Eventide Hollow is filled with darkness, strange creatures and destroyed towns. This game allows you to rebuild those destroyed towns and upgrade their shops and storefronts. The source of the curse was also its only protection from it, the Holomento. The Holomento traps the souls of all who possess it. The mysterious book affixes itself to those who seek passage through the Hollow. If the traveler dies, the soul is also added to the Holomento before it returns to the resting place, awaiting the next traveler. Speaking about the towns, they look beautiful in the trailer. The only negative thing I have to say about the trailer are the enemies that the player is fighting. They look uninspired a bit, but that won't be a huge problem if it's fun to fight them. And how about this paragraph? Upgraded towns will reward you with many benefits and also allow you to access the local stonk markets. It allows you to invest in local businesses and grow your influence and wealth throughout the Hollow. So yeah, to the moon I guess. Anyway, Holomento features a variety of starting classes that you can choose. Each class begins with a unique set of items and changes how you will fight your way through the Hollow drastically. The action combat in Holomento seems to be really fun with some crazy looking abilities. Since the game is heavily revolved around the combat, it really can't afford to be bad. So let's hope for the best. Speaking of combat, you can see a lot of short clips on official Twitter account of this game. How about this spin to win Gunfu move? Or the good old Great Sword Warrior playstyle? Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going for if I get to play this game. Those are some pretty decent animations and that's always great to see. Anyway, Holomento looks like a really interesting game that could be worth our time. Number 3. The Fellowship Saga. If you're a fan of old Might and Magic games, the Fellowship Saga should look really familiar. You don't see a lot of these games nowadays because they are really specific. The Fellowship Saga uses a familiar 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons rule set for the gameplay, and like I said, it basically plays like a Might and Magic game. You control the party of 5 characters and each of them is completely customizable. Before you start the game, you have the option to make completely new characters or select 5 pre-made characters. There is a free demo available on Steam that you can try out for yourself. I've played a bit before I started working on this video and I actually had a lot of fun. I have made a barbarian with a pretty high charisma stat. This is just a bare bones version of the UI and the developer made sure to point that out. But there's everything you need for creating a D&D character, a race selection, class, stat distribution, the voice, and of course, choosing your avatar. Wait, look at that fucking guy. Beefy motherfucker. There are 12 classes and 9 races in total, so you can customize your party in a lot of ways. Exploration is done in real time and in first person, but the world looks pretty simplistic. As well as attack animations and just animations in general. It definitely looks really outdated, but I guess that's part of the charm. If you want to relive those Might and Magic days, I don't think that's going to be a problem to you. I can see how a lot of people won't be interested in a title like this, and that's fine. They are targeting a really niche audience. That's pretty much it when it comes to all the available information about this game. Like I said, you can try out the demo on Steam, it's totally free. To be honest, I was never a fan of Might and Magic games, but after this demo, I might go back and give those games another try. Not anytime soon though. Number 2. Luminary. This game has some beautiful landscapes with a really nice vibrant color palette. Luminary is an open world adventure RPG which also has co-op features. Not just online co-op but couch co-op as well. I love when new games care enough to include the long forgotten feature, the split screen. Even though I personally like the single player experience in RPGs the most. Anyway, I've gained the impression that this game will play very similar to Valheim, so I don't expect some deep RPG features. The combat seems to work like in hack and slash games, but we don't have a ton of footage of combat yet. The open world in this game is really dense and you'll be able to explore it by running, gliding, jumping and climbing as well. Before Valheim came out, I was really skeptical about procedurally generated open worlds. But I really enjoyed exploring the world in that game, so that gave me hope when it comes to procedurally generated open worlds. Just like in Valheim, the map is generated every time you start a new world. The locations, rarities, and also the difficulty is generated. I don't exactly know what they mean by generating the difficulty. That kinda sounds weird, but we'll see, I guess. There should be a lot of weapons, armors, and various item categories, which have different variations. You can trade with your friends as well. The character progression system seems to be based on what you're currently using. It's improve on use system, so if you're using one-handed swords, your skill with that weapon category will go up. And again, very similar to Valheim. Once your character gains enough experience, you will start unlocking new abilities as well. I'm really curious about Luminary because I think that we should definitely get more games like Valheim. However, if you don't like Valheim for whatever the reason, I don't think you will like Luminary neither. But we can't say for sure until the game actually comes out. I'm looking forward to it and I'm going to try it out for sure. Number 1. Dark Envoy. Dark Envoy is a non-linear sci-fi RPG and it looks bloody amazing. Yet another RPG on the list with a co-op feature. You'll be able to play through the campaign either solo or online with a friend. This game has amazing visuals, a lot of particle effects on the screen and very good lighting. Even when the game is zoomed in, which is probably not going to be a viable playstyle, it still looks great. But enough about the graphics, let's talk about more important features. A big emphasis has been put on the non-linear story experience, according to the Steam page at least. The world of Jan, I assume, has exploded into total war as humans challenge the old balance and traditions of magic with their mana-based technology. Humans, mysterious beings with a far more mysterious past, are newer to this world but have risen under the banner of the self-proclaimed emperor to establish a place they can finally call home. You will take the control of a skyship and explore 15 different biomes in the game. In addition to the main and side quests, there are optional shape-shifting dungeons for players to explore. These are challenging areas where the layouts and enemy patrol routes shift each time you enter. That's just a fancy name for procedural generation. Anyway, Dark Envoy is supposed to have a large pool of quests and events. I'm curious to see how that's going to work in the co-op mode. The combat is real-time with pause, there's a lot of destructible cover to take advantage of, and I assume it's highly tactical in general. There's an expansive crafting system featuring research and enchantments. When it comes to classes, Dark Envoy developers claim that this system is highly flexible, featuring 4 base classes and 16 specializations. There's also a hidden class which can be discovered by solving special quests. To be honest, everything about this game sounds really damn good and it also looks amazing. I have high hopes for this game, so Event Horizon, please don't disappoint me. That should conclude our list of 5 new RPGs. Tell me what game on this list was the most interesting to you and why, if any at all. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more RPG contents. If you want to support the channel in the long run, consider becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You can get your name on the end credits, as well as some other perks like early access to videos, Discord roles, my plans for future content, etc, etc. That will be all, and I'll see you in the next one.